silent defiance. The observation deck of the Earth diplomatic vessel Horizon offered an unparalleled view of the Galactic Council's capital world, Nexus Prime. Ambassador Elena Chen stood motionless, her eyes fixed on the sprawling metropolis below. Massive crystal towers rose through the clouds, connected by translucent bridges that glowed with energy. Ships of countless designs moved through designated flight paths, a dance of technology and coordination that humanity had only dreamed of until now. "It's breathtaking," said Dr. Marcus Way, stepping beside her. As the lead physicist responsible for Earth's first faster-than-light drive, he had earned his place on this historic mission. "Everything we've worked toward for generations." Elena nodded but remained silent. After centuries of looking to the stars, humanity had finally achieved interstellar travel. First contact had come 6 months later, a Council scout ship detecting their experimental vessel during its maiden voyage. The invitation to present their case for membership had arrived soon after. "The Council representatives are ready to receive us," announced Captain Rivera, entering the observation deck. "Remember the protocols. No sudden movements. Speak only when addressed directly." Elena straightened her formal diplomatic uniform. "Let's make history," she said. The Council chamber defied human architectural understanding. The ceiling seemed impossibly distant, a swirling mosaic of star maps that shifted continuously. 12 raised platforms held the representatives of the founding species, beings of such diversity that Elena struggled to process their appearances despite months of preparation. The Grand Arbiter, a tall being with iridescent skin that rippled with colors, rose from the central platform. Its voice resonated directly in their minds, a translation matrix conveying perfect meaning. "The Council acknowledges the representatives of species designation, Earth Human. You may present your petition." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady, despite her racing heart. "Honorable Council, I stand before you representing Earth and all humanity. We come seeking knowledge, cooperation, and a place among the galactic community. Though we are young as a spacefaring species, we bring with us unique perspectives, creativity, and a profound desire to contribute." The presentation proceeded according to plan. Elena showcased humanity's achievements, their art, their resilience, in recovering from climate catastrophes, their rapid technological advancement. Dr. Way explained their scientific breakthroughs, careful to emphasize how they had independently developed technologies that aligned with Council standards. When they finished, silence filled the chamber. Elena felt a flutter of hope, until the Vexar representative, a being resembling an evolved cephalopod, touched a control panel on its platform. The chamber darkened, and new images appeared in the air around them. Footage of Earth's wars, nuclear detonations, concentration camps, environmental disasters. "Is this also humanity?" the Vexar asked, its translated voice cold and precise. Elena's diplomatic training kicked in. "Our history contains darkness, as I imagine the histories of all species do. We have learned from our mistakes. Have you?" The question came from a crystalline entity whose body refracted light in hypnotic patterns. "Our analysis indicates your species progresses technologically at a rate 3.7 times faster than your ethical development. This disparity represents an unacceptable risk factor." "That's not fair," Dr. Way interjected, stepping forward despite protocol. "You're judging us by our past, not our potential." The Grand Arbiter raised an appendage, and Dr. Way found himself unable to speak further. "The Council has deliberated extensively on your case since first contact," the Arbiter stated. "Your presentation has been considered but does not alter our assessment. Humanity exhibits dangerous characteristics: territorial expansion instincts, competitive resource acquisition, and most concerning, unprecedented adaptability combined with tactical intelligence." Elena felt cold dread spreading through her. This wasn't going as planned. "The Council has reached its determination," continued the Arbiter. "Earth humans are classified as a Category 3 containment species. You will be permitted to develop within your home system only. A quarantine network will be established at the boundaries of your system. No council species will be permitted to share advanced technology with humans. This decision is final. The shock hit Elena like a physical blow. They hadn't come seeking judgment, they had come seeking partnership. "We traveled here in peace," she protested. "We've shown no aggression toward any council species." "It is not what you have done," replied the arbiter. "It is what probability indicates you will do. The decision is final. You will be escorted back to your system immediately." The return journey to Earth was the longest of Elena's life. How could she tell humanity that instead of joining a bright galactic future, they had been labeled dangerous and quarantined like a disease? President Olivia Santos was waiting when their ship docked at Earth's orbital station. One look at Elena's face told her everything. "They rejected us," Santos said. Not a question, but a confirmation. Elena nodded, her shoulders heavy with defeat. "Worse than rejected. They've quarantined us, no contact, no trade, no technology exchange. They're establishing monitoring stations around our entire system." Dr. Wei's eyes flashed with anger. "They judged us by our past, not our potential. They fear what we might become, not what we are." President Santos was silent for a long moment. "Come with me," she finally said. She led them to a secure conference room where Earth's unified leadership had gathered via holographic projection. Representatives from all nations sat in grim silence as Elena and Dr. Wei recounted what had happened. "So that's it?" asked the Premier of the East Asian Coalition. "We're locked away and forgotten?" "No," said Admiral Jackson, commander of Earth's defense forces, stepping forward. "That's what they expect. They expect us to rage against our containment, to prove them right about our violent nature. But we're going to do something they won't expect." All eyes turned to him. "We're going to build in silence," Jackson continued. "They think they know humans, but they've underestimated us at every turn. They've studied our wars, but missed our greatest strength." "Which is?" asked a representative from the African Union. "Adaptation," Jackson said firmly. "No species in Earth's history has adapted faster than humans. Put us in a desert, we survive. Put us in the Arctic, we build homes. Tell us we can't fly, we invent planes. Tell us we can't reach the stars." He let the thought hang in the air. Dr. Wei straightened, a new light in his eyes. "The Council has given us one advantage. They think they've contained us. They'll stop watching so closely. Meanwhile, I have theories about modifying our FTL drives to be undetectable to their sensors." President Santos nodded slowly. "How long would such a project take?" "Years. Decades, even," Wei admitted. "But what choice do we have?" Elena, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "They cast us out because they fear what we might become. I say we show them exactly what humans do when backed into a corner. We don't break. We plan, we prepare, and when the time is right, we emerge stronger than anyone imagined possible." One by one, the world leaders nodded in agreement. "Then it's decided," President Santos said. "We begin today. Admiral Jackson, Dr. Wei, Ambassador Chen, you three will head what we'll call Operation Umbra. Humanity won't just survive this setback. We'll use it to forge ourselves into something greater." As the meeting ended, Admiral Jackson looked out a viewport at the stars, the same stars that had just rejected humanity. "They think they've seen the worst of us," he said quietly. "Wait until they see the best." 30 years passed. The Earth that the Council thought they knew had transformed. Where once nations competed, now a unified purpose drove every innovation, every resource allocation. The quarantine had done what centuries of diplomacy could not. It had truly united humanity. Dr. Sophia Wei, daughter of the now legendary Marcus Wei, stood in the vast underground complex beneath the Antarctic plateau. The facility stretched for miles, hidden from orbital observation by a combination of natural features and advanced camouflage technology. "Director Wei, the Phantom is ready for the stealth test," her assistant announced. Sophia nodded and walked to the control room. Through the viewing window, she could see the sleek black ship waiting in the massive chamber. It didn't look impressive, and that was precisely the point. It was designed to be forgotten, to slip past eyes and sensors alike. "Begin the test," Sophia ordered. The ship hummed to life, but instead of the bright energy signature that normal FTL drives produced, this one seemed to fade from view, becoming a shadow among shadows. "Stealth systems, functioning at 99.3% efficiency," reported a technician. "Council standard sensors would need to be within 500 meters to detect it." Sophia allowed herself a small smile. "And no Council ship has come within our system's edge in 3 years. They've grown complacent." "Just as Admiral Jackson predicted," said a voice behind her. Sophia turned to see General Diana Jackson, daughter of the now deceased Admiral. She had her father's steady gaze and strategic mind, now in command of Earth's growing shadow fleet. "Your father would be proud," Sophia said. "Phase 1 is complete," Diana nodded. "We can move undetected. Phase 2 begins tomorrow." "The Council thinks we're still licking our wounds, trapped in our little corner of the galaxy," Sophia said, watching as technicians prepared the Phantom for its historic mission. "They have no idea what's coming." The Shadow Empire emerges 100 years had passed since the Galactic Council had turned humanity away. What had begun as a desperate plan for survival had evolved into something no Council analyst could have predicted. Humanity had not just survived, it had thrived in the shadows. Admiral Elijah Chen, great-grandson of Ambassador Elena Chen, stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance, watching as his fleet of 50 ships moved silently through the darkness of space. Each vessel was a marvel of human ingenuity, incorporating both Earthborn innovation and adapted alien technology. Not a single one would register on Council scanners. "Admiral, all ships report ready," his first officer said. Elijah nodded. "Set course for the Proxima Centauri outpost. Standard stealth protocols." The Defiance and its fleet slipped into FTL travel, vanishing from normal space. Their mission was routine now: maintain the growing network of human colonies and outposts that stretched across more than 40 star systems. Not an empire, not officially, but the foundation of one. Director Amara Jackson studied the holographic map hovering before her in the command center of Nova Terra, humanity's first and largest colony outside the Sol system. Little points of light marked confirmed human settlements, while blue lines traced their secret trade routes. "Report from our operatives in the Taurus sector," said her aide, handing her a data pad. Amara reviewed the information with interest. "So the Volari are seeking independence from the Council?" "Yes, Director. They've been systematically denied resources and representation for decades. Council ships have blockaded their homeworld twice in the past 5 years. The Volari were one of several dozen lesser species that existed on the margins of Council space, tolerated but never truly accepted, much like humans would have been had they accepted the Council's terms." "Arrange a meeting with their leadership," Amara decided. Quietly. 2 months later, in a neutrally positioned asteroid field far from any monitoring station, the first official alliance between humans and another species was formed. The Volari brought navigational knowledge of sectors humans had yet to explore. Humans brought stealth technology and resources the Council had denied the Volari. It was the beginning of what would become known as the Shadow Accord, a growing coalition of species who had been deemed unworthy by the Council's arbitrary standards. Meanwhile, in Council space, troubling reports began to surface. Supply ships went missing. Outposts in remote systems reported equipment failures. Strange ships were occasionally glimpsed but never clearly recorded. Most Council species dismissed these as myths or technical malfunctions. The Galactic Council itself had grown complacent in its millennia of unchallenged rule. Internal politics and bureaucracy had replaced vigilance. The quarantine buoys around the Sol system continued to report that humans were confined to their system, developing slowly as expected of a contained species. The buoys lied. Their programming, subtly altered by human operatives decades earlier. In the 175th year after Earth's rejection, everything changed. A cosmic event unprecedented in Council records, a hypernova in a densely populated sector, required immediate evacuation of 12 Council worlds. The massive relocation stretched council resources to their limit. Director Amara Jackson called an emergency meeting of the Shadow Accord leadership. "This is the opportunity we've been waiting for," she told the assembled representatives of 17 non-council species. "The council is vulnerable. Their attention is focused entirely on the evacuation efforts." "What do you propose?" asked the Valari ambassador, their multifaceted eyes gleaming with anticipation. "It's time to step out of the shadows," Amara replied. "Not with violence, but with an offer they cannot refuse." Admiral Chen led a fleet of 200 ships, the largest human-led armada ever assembled, toward the council capital world of Nexus Prime. For the first time in nearly 2 centuries, they traveled without stealth protocols active. They wanted to be seen. The council's reaction was predictable: panic. Emergency defensive protocols activated, ancient weapons platforms unused for generations powered up. A hastily assembled defense fleet moved to intercept. "We're being hailed by the Council Defense Command," reported the Defiance's communications officer. "On screen," Chen ordered. A Vexar admiral appeared, tentacles writhing in agitation. "Unidentified. Fleet, you have entered restricted space. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Admiral Chen smiled. "I'm afraid that won't be possible. I request an immediate audience with the full Galactic Council. I come as a representative of the Shadow Accord." "There is no such entity recognized by the Council," the Vexar replied. "Identify your species designation." "I am Admiral Elijah, Chen of Earth." The Vexar's tentacles froze in shock. "Impossible. Earth humans are contained within the Sol system." "Clearly," Chen replied dryly, "we are not." The resulting emergency council session was broadcast across all council territories. 12 ancient species found themselves facing something they had never anticipated: a human admiral standing calmly in their chamber, declaring the existence of an alternative interstellar alliance. The Shadow Accord currently comprises 32 species and controls approximately 20% of what you consider council space, Chen explained, watching their reactions with satisfaction. "We have established colonies on over 100 worlds. Our technology has advanced beyond your containment capabilities." "This is a violation of council law," protested the crystalline entity. "Humans were restricted to their home system." "A restriction we never agreed to," Chen countered. "A judgment passed without our consent. The Grand Arbiter, a successor to the one who had condemned humanity generations earlier, struggled to maintain composure." "Why reveal yourselves now? Is this a declaration of war?" "Quite the opposite," Chen replied. "We've come to offer assistance with your evacuation crisis. The Shadow Accord has ships and resources stationed near the affected sectors. Resources we're willing to provide immediately." Murmurs spread through the chamber. "In exchange for what?" asked the Arbiter suspiciously. "Recognition, legitimacy. The Shadow Accord doesn't seek to overthrow the Council, but to exist alongside it. A second path for species development, free from your arbitrary classification system." "And if we refuse?" Chen's expression remained impassive. "Then we return to the shadows, and you explain to your people why you rejected aid that could save millions of lives." The Council had no choice. Their own citizens watching the broadcast would revolt if they refused. Reluctantly, they agreed to Chen's terms. As relief ships bearing the Shadow Accord insignia, a rising star partially eclipsed, arrived. In the disaster zone, the truth could no longer be hidden. Humanity had not only escaped its containment, but had built something revolutionary in the process. A cooperative alliance based on mutual respect, rather than conformity. 6 months later, Director Amara Jackson stood on the observation deck of the newly established Shadow Accord Embassy on Nexus Prime. Below, Council citizens and Shadow Accord members mingled freely in the diplomatic quarter, exchanging ideas and culture for the first time. "Your great-grandmother would be proud," Admiral Chen said, joining her at the viewport. Amara nodded. She saw the potential in us when the Council could only see the danger. "They weren't entirely wrong," Chen observed. "We were dangerous, too. Their complacency to their stagnation. Sometimes the universe needs disruption to grow." A young diplomatic aide approached them. "Director Admiral, the Council has requested your presence. The treaty negotiations are ready to begin." As they walked toward the Council chamber, Amara reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this moment. Cast out, they had built something greater than they could have imagined as just another Council race. The Council had intended to contain humanity's potential, fearing what they might become. Instead, they had created the very thing they feared most, a humanity that had learned to thrive beyond their control, bringing others with them into the light. In the grand dance of galactic politics, humanity had proven one undeniable truth. Never underestimate a species that turns exile into opportunity. The Shadow Empire had emerged, and the galaxy would never be the same.